This is okay. Well, good morning and welcome to the Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting on this 22nd day of October. And this is 2019. It's going to be a gorgeous day today, I think, looking at the outside. For introductions, on my left we have Commissioner Deb Shore and Commissioner Sean Flowerday, who is also the Vice Chair. And we have on my right, we have Commissioner Rick Vest, and I am Commissioner Roma Amundsen, Chair of the Board. Will you please join with me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right, thank you so very much. And Mr. Clerk, will you begin the agenda?
A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the wall at the rear hearing room. Additionally, a copy of all written material to be discussed at today's open meeting is available from the county clerk staff at the front of the hearing room. The material can also be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Agenda item 1 are minutes. Approval of the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meeting held on Tuesday, October 15, 2019.
Move approval.
I second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any corrections? Please call the roll.
Shore?
Yes.
Flowerday?
Yes.
Vest?
Yes.
Amundsen?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Number 2 are claims. Approval of all claims processed through October 22nd, 2019.
I move approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the claims. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Vest?
Yes.
Shore?
Yes.
Flowerday?
Yes.
Amundsen?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Next is number 3, consent items. These are routine business items that are expected to be adopted without dissent. Any individual item may be removed for special discussion and consideration by a commissioner or by any member of the public without prior notice. Unless there's an exception, these items will be approved as one with a single vote of the Board of Commissioners. These items are approval of utility permits with no cost to the county for the following. Number 1882, allowing Unite Private Networks to install new underground fiber cable under Highway 2 and South 141st Street right-of-way to South 148th Street and Rokeby Road. Number 1883, allowing Windstream Nebraska LLC to remove and relocate underground cable in conjunction with County Culvert Replacement Project 19-13. Amendment to grant contract C-19-706 with Lighthouse Inc. for the Men with Dreams program. Amendments to the following county contracts for annual supply, power, and hand tools. C-17-829 with Total Tool Supply Inc. C-17-826 with Fastenal. C-17-828 with Too Fast Supply Company. Amendments to the following county contracts for annual service weed abatement mowing for the County Weed Authority. C-19-441 with Beatrice Lawn Care, Inc. C-19-442 with Lee's Lawn Maintenance. C-19-443 with Mr. Yards and More, LLC. Amendments to the following county contracts. C-18-695 with Grayboro Electric for annual supply personal alarm transmitter. C-19-709 with JEO Consulting Group, Inc. for additional 2020 countywide wetland delineation services. C-17-860 with Page Freezer Software, Inc. for Lancaster County Social Media Archive Services. C-19-548 with Office Interiors and Designs, Inc. for the supply and installation of office furniture, Sheriff's Office. C-15-380 with National Everything Wholesale for janitorial and sanitation supplies, equipment, and related services. Right-of-way contracts with the following. John W. Spader and Deborah Spader, co-trustees, North 84th Street and Little Salt Road, in a total amount of $1,082. John W. Spader and Deborah K. Spader, co-trustees, North 70th Street and Mill Road, in the amount of $541. John C. and Patricia L. Lane, Southwest 56th Street and West Old Cheney Road, in the amount of $1,615. Phyllis E. Kuser, trustee, Phyllis E. Kuser Revocable Trust, South 54th Street and Woodstruck Road in the amount of $653.50. Edith E. Botsford, South 68th Street and Woodstruck Road in the amount of $919. Ronald and Judine Oling, Southwest 2nd Street and West Woodstruck Road in the amount of $343. Setting a public hearing on Thursday, November 7th, 2019 at 9:30 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building regarding the County Special Permit 19035.
I move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent items. Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Next is a public hearing. This is a proposed sale of property legally described as the west 66 feet of the north 310 feet of Lot 10, a regular tract located in the northwest quarter of Section 30, Township 12, Range 7 east of the 6 p.m., Lancaster County, Nebraska, which includes declaring that the property no longer serves a county purpose, determining its fair market value, and setting the date for its sale.
Okay. We'll open this public hearing now.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Ken Schroeder, Lancaster County Engineering. This is about half an acre of ground, kind of the remnants of what may have been earmarked for roads purposes along the west side of the warehouse lots in the village of Davie. It's within their village limits. The part in yellow here is that part of Lot 10, which is described. Lancaster County, I don't believe it's ever been a road. Lancaster County has not used that property and has no need for it. Here's an aerial view of the property just to show you what improvements, if any, are on there. The road, I think, has always been on that outlot to the west, so it really has never been a road, and we just want to declare it surplus. So, if you have any questions?
Looks like it's a parking lot in this photo.
I believe it's been used by the adjacent owner.
It looks like an orchard there. All right. Okay, are there any other questions? Okay.
Jim Shatkowski, County Right-of-Way Manager.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. I'm Jim Shatkowski, County Right-of-Way Manager. I did the appraisal on the above referenced tract pursuant to my appraisal dated September of this year. The highest and best use for this tract was zoned industrial. Complementary land uses were industrial around it. 5 sales were used in the analysis of the valuation process. Reconciled value was like 50 cents a square foot, which is like $10,000. So that's it. Oh, thank you. If you have any questions, I'll try to address them.
Questions? All right.
Thank you very much.
Is there anyone here to speak in support of this sale? Anyone in opposition or in a neutral status? Seeing none, I will close that public hearing, and then let's go on to correlating item 5A.
This is under new business. Resolution regarding the proposed sale of property located in Lancaster County, Nebraska, and legally described herein, including declaring that the property no longer serves a county purpose, determining the property's fair market value, and setting the date for the sale of the property.
I move that we approve this resolution and determine that the fair market value of this property is $10,000.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve this resolution. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. 5B is a resolution in the matter of terminating local emergencies declared on May 23rd, 2004 and May 12th, 2015.
2004?
How long?
I just didn't realize it had run that long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have. So I need an approval.
I will move approval of the resolution.
I second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve this resolution. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. C is a resolution to certify and notify the state of the county's proper completion of the County Bridge Match Program project pursuant to the program agreement previously approved under R-18-0016.
Larry Legg with Lancaster County Engineering. And this is a project that we got a $200,000 grant from the Department of Roads. It was to reconstruct 2 box culverts. I'm going to have to look because I can't remember the numbers, but they're shown on the display here. Do I have it right side up? It's okay, yeah, B-147 up in the northeast part of the county, and N-19 in the west central part. I think the total cost of these were around $500,000. The grant was capped at $200,000. Once we let the project, we got $140,000. This is, the projects are complete. This is to certify that we've made the final payment, we've created the as-bills, the projects are done to recover that last $60,000. Any questions?
No.
Great work.
Super.
Yes.
Move approval of the resolution.
I second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the resolution. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. 5D is a resolution authorizing Roma Amundson, the County Board Chairperson of Lancaster County, to sign the 2019 year-end certification of County Highway Superintendent Forum.
I move approval.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the resolution. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. E is a grant adjustment notification on the 2018-2019 Emergency Management Performance Grant reallocation request.
Good morning, Jim David, Saber Director, Lincoln, Lancaster County Emergency Management. This grant adjustment notice closes out the 2018-2019 fiscal year. The original amount we were awarded was $103,399.50. Due to available funds that were still eligible for assignment, the reallocation amount that we received was an additional $36,625.74. That's how we arrive at the grand total of $139,725.24.
Okay, good work.
It's always a pleasure to see you, Jim, when there's not an emergency, and
Understood.
then when you tell us there's
There's
more
more money.
money. So.
Yes, sir. I always want to take advantage of that opportunity as well.
Very good.
Thank you. I'm-
Go ahead. Jim,
Jim?
Jim, hold on. After the motion, last night at Mutual Aid, talked just briefly about the simulation that went on over the weekend. So I just wanted you maybe just touch on that after we vote, if you
Okay,
don't
after
mind.
we vote.
Absolutely. Yep,
Okay.
my pleasure.
I move approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Yeah, the operation was titled Operation Titan Fall, and it was something that was about 3 or 4 months in the planning process. I really commend my Deputy Director, Mark Hosking. He was tasked at the 11th hour to put this exercise together. We worked collaboratively with not only local healthcare facilities, other first responders, but the primary new player to that table, or one that was new to us, was the Nebraska National Guard. In the wake of the flooding that we experienced throughout the state in March, the Guard recognized that they really needed to ensure they could communicate effectively and efficiently with all other first responders. So the primary goal of it was to establish those communication links, and it worked out very smoothly. We started about 8 o'clock Saturday morning. We had 2 different scheduled flight plans. They did 3 helicopter flights in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. They went to Stagecoach Lake, and literally had, it was a guard weekend, so they used guard participants were actually in the water in safety suits, but they repelled rescue swimmers from the helicopters to rescue these injured parties in the lake. Once they were loaded into the helicopters, they transported them to St. Elizabeth's. And they had, in the flight plan, they landed 3 helicopters in the morning and 3 helicopters in the afternoon to simulate that. But as I said, the primary focus was on communications, that the military, they have access to all these communication channels, all these frequencies. Can we do that real time under real world circumstances? And that's what this exercise was to simulate. So from my observations, I spent the day in our emergency operations center. We were in constant contact with the state at the state emergency operations center where they had the military representatives. But from my perspective, everything went very smoothly. The objectives that we had identified to check those boxes off during the exercise, we were certainly able to do that. The next big step will be the after action conference where we solicit input, feedback from all the participants. We certainly want to give credit where credit is due, but then identify any areas of improvement. It went well, but there's always something we can do better the next time. So moving forward, and we hope this will be an ongoing relationship. The next big event is scheduled for May of next year, and it will involve not only Lancaster County, but several other counties throughout the state. That is Operation Vigilant Guard, which is a big deal. They have members of the military that are already working on it full time. So we will participate when and as needed in that drill as well. So if you thought this one was big, they tell me the next
I
one's
could hear,
gonna be
I could hear the
bigger.
helicopters coming over my house
Okay.
all Saturday.
Well, and that was an important piece of the public information and outreach. St. Elizabeth's, they have a protocol where they need to notify property owners, business owners in the general area. The 2 smaller helicopters, they're not Chinooks, Lakotas, are comparable to a civilian helicopter, but they landed a Black Hawk helicopter there in the morning and the afternoon, and they say the rotor wash from that can kick up
that'd be huge.
quite a bit. So, but again, they had the due diligence on their part to notify the neighbors. We also contacted the Lincoln Police Department to ensure we had necessary traffic control. If you see a large Black Hawk helicopter setting down near 70th and L Street, that's going to be an attention getter. So,
That sounds really, really interesting. Yeah.
so
And this is really, something up the guards alley. I bet everybody just had a great time.
correct. And as I said, they recognized that early on, as I said, pretty much in the eastern half of the state where the Guard was deployed to handle several missions. We used them here very close to home for the sandbagging operation to try to stabilize the horizontal well fields that belong to the Lincoln Water System that are out at the Ashland Treatment Facility. So when we really, put our heads together and bring the resources together, we've got a lot of good things in place to, like I said, minimize the bad things, obviously to prevent them on the front end, but then when you're in that response and recovery mode, the teamwork that I witnessed was very incredible.
Please say thank you to Mark Hosking
Will do.
for
Yep.
organizing that. He has done it. He does
Correct.
a really, really good job with those.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I know to stay out of his way when he's in the planning mode like that. But as I said, everything came together, and for all practical purposes, really went off without a hitch. The weather that we had on Saturday, under the circumstances, when you're rolling into late October, couldn't ask for better cooperation from Mother Nature in that regard.
You bet. Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Next is 5F, a grant contract with Mount Talbot Kitchen and Outreach in the amount of $170,001 for transitional housing for Lancaster County Sentence Conversion Reentry Program participants. The term of the grant contract is October 1st, 2019 through September 30th, 2021.
I just wanted to know, on this contract, we are still waiting for the insurance, so we ask that you approve it contingent upon receipt of insurance.
I move approval contingent on receipt of insurance.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. G is a grant contract with Grace Johnson in the amount not to exceed $462.64 to provide a juvenile justice seminar at the Native America Trauma Training. The seminar was held on September 27, 2019 in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Move approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the grant. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. 5H is a request from the Human Resources Department to revise the classification of Community Corrections Director and create the classification of Assistant Director of Community Corrections.
Move approval.
Second.
You have a motion and a second to approve these requests. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. I is a contract with Cooper Appraisal Group in the amount of $4,500 for appraisal services for the Corridor Protection Project at North 129th and Holdridge Streets in Lancaster County, Nebraska.
I move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. 5J is a contract with Brentag Great Lakes LLC using the City of Lincoln contract to provide high-purity bulk sodium chloride. The term of the contract is upon execution through September 29, 2020. The cost of county is not to exceed $21,750.
Morning, Larry Lake with Lancaster County Engineering. This is a contract to get, I'm going to call it clean salt for making brine if we need to manufacture brine for the coming winter season. You know, Lancaster County Engineering has started using brine in some locations on our pavement to prevent the snow from sticking or the ice from forming in the first place. So last year we simply bought bags of salt like from Menards or like that. Well, you know, that's not really economical, but it let us get started on it. So this is in case we need it. We've got the contract in place. We don't have to mess around with it. We can get our brine manufactured. Any questions?
And if you don't use it, you could save it.
No, if we don't use it, we don't have to go get it or have it delivered. It's a.
Oh, okay. It's only if it- okay.
If we need it, we've got it in place. We say, hey, we need the salt, or we'll get some in stock and have it ready to go. But yeah, it can be saved.
Okay.
But this is different than the salt we spread on the roads because that's kind of has a lot more impurities in it. This is closer to probably what you would put in on your sidewalk or maybe even into your water softener. It's clean salt, so it doesn't clog up the pumps and stuff like that.
Okay, good.
I move approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. 5K are contracts to provide annual service noxious weed spraying and mowing. The contract shall be effective upon execution by both parties. The cost of county is not to exceed $20,000 for the contracts with the following: Beatrice Lawn Care, Inc., and Gary's Lawn and Landscape.
Good morning, Brent Meyer, Lancaster County Weed Control Superintendent. These are contractors to be used as needed, so this $20,000, we can go up to that, and we'll only use that as we have force controls on private property throughout the year. Just a note on this, these were the only two contractors that we were able to bid these projects, so we continue to look at ways to entice people to bid our projects. And some of the discussion we had previously on the insurance amounts and requirements on that was part of this bid that came to this. So that helped out to get, last year we were not able to get anybody to bid. So at least that helped to get at least a couple contractors. So we use these anytime we have to do a force control on noxious weeds on private property. So if you've got any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
So we have folks that do this. This is when those folks can't keep up with the noxious weeds.
Yeah, so if we've issued a legal notice to a private landowner and they don't comply with taking care of their noxious weeds, these are the contractors we would hire to go out on private property and spray those noxious weeds.
Two's more than zero.
Well, and that's good, and that's better than we had last
100%
year, because that puts us in a bind to where either we need to look at our staff starting to do that and buy equipment and have the facilities to do that, or it's better to always hire a contractor that has that equipment, so.
Okay,
Good,
thank you.
You bet.
All right, I move approval.
A second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. L is contract with U.S. Bank to provide remote deposit capture services. The term of the contract is from November 1st, 2019 through October 31st, 2023. The cost of county is not to exceed $11,690.40.
I move approval.
Second?
I have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. M is a contract with U.S. Bank to provide automated clearinghouse processing services. The term of the contract is from December 1st, 2019 through August 31st, 2020, with the option to renew for one additional one-year term.
I move approval.
Second?
I have a motion and a second to approve this contract. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. N is a cooperative agreement with the U.S. Department of Interior, U.S. Geological Survey for joint funding of water resources investigations. The agreement is for the operation and computation of records for 4 stream flow gauging stations, which are Salt Creek, Little Salt Creek near Lincoln, Stevens Creek near Lincoln, and Rock Creek near Ceresco. The county will pay $12,900 for the services. The term of the agreement is from October 1st, 2019 through September 30th, 2020.
Move approval?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Next is number 6, public comment. Those wishing to speak on items relating to county business not on the agenda may do so at this time.
I'll sign in. Good morning, Honorable Commissioners.
Good morning.
My name is Jonathan Leo. I live at 2321 Devonshire Drive in Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm here to speak about the subject of the CAFO working group that recently completed its meetings and submitted proposed amendments to the county ordinance for animal feeding operations, ultimately for your consideration after they go to the Planning Commission. The reason I'm here now is because I learned last week, Tuesday or Wednesday as I recall of last week, that the Planning Department staff had drafted its own alternative set of proposed amendments to the existing county animal feeding ordinance, presumably, and I don't know a lot of the details, presumably for submittal to the Planning Commission and ultimately to the county board, side by side with the amendments proposed and developed by the by the task force itself. I have no idea whether or not there is any precedent for this kind of independent planning department or independent agency activity, but I want to give you a perspective on what it looks like from the outside. Excuse me. As you know, I've been interested in this process from the very beginning. I was active in opposition to the permitting of the Lincoln Premium Poultry Barns west of Denton on behalf of Randy Essink from July to September of last year. When that permit was approved, the Planning Commission first by a 6-3 vote and the County Board by a 3-2 vote, both of those bodies unanimously agreed to convene a task force to consider amendments to the animal feeding operation ordinance, recognizing that at the very least
It was thin with respect to both process and substance and needed to be made more robust. The task force that was convened was done so by a letter from the board signed by Todd Wilchin to David Carey of the Planning Department on September 20th of last year, and provided very specific instructions as to what the composition of the task force should be. What I want to do is provide you with an example of the failures in execution of this process and substance as well, from the beginning, culminating in this recent submittal of alternative amendments unannounced, without any warning by the Planning Department. The initial letter from the Planning Department from the County Board sought a composition of the task force between, it didn't say in whether equal parts, but presumably balanced, members of the, neighbors, quote unquote, neighbors, operators, quote unquote, and I believe government agency representatives. As it turned out, the 10 members of the task force contained not a single neighbor. And by neighbors, I can only presume that the board intended there to be neighbors of the recently contested permit for Lincoln Premium Poultry in the western central Lancaster County area, or at least neighbors of other CAFOs. There were no neighbors of any CAFOs, let alone the Lincoln Premium Poultry approved CAFO. And there were 6 at least members of the task force who had either professional or academic or other kind of business experience with animal feeding operations. I would ask for a couple extra minutes if I may.
Okay, I will grant you 2 more minutes.
Thank you. This was the first problem. The second problem was when the Planning Department leaders of the task force refused to allow any member of the public observing the proceedings to have any comment on the discussions involved. I brought this to the attention of the board after the 6th meeting, I believe it was, and after that, public comment was allowed for 3 minutes, but not before. The leader of the Planning Department staff, Steve Henriksen, also failed to take any minutes of the task force meetings. I brought that to the attention of the task force of the county board, and learned that when I asked Mr. Henriksen if there were any minutes of the meetings, he said no, there were not. I said, does that mean, and I remember this very clearly, that there is no public record of any of these discussions? He said, that's correct, only my private notes, and those aren't going to be made public. And I remember those exact words. He then, when he was presumably called on that, converted his own notes that he said would never be made public into minutes, which over the objections of some of the members of the public, including myself, were adopted by the task force. This final unilateral and unannounced decision by the Planning Department staff to put its own amendments out, in my judgment and the judgment of the people who I've spoken to, some of whom are task force members, is a betrayal of the trust that we put, and I presume you put, in the Planning Department staff as the impartial arbiters of this process, to make sure that there was robust discussion of the issues at stake. We doubted whether they had good faith in this, but we're confident that ultimately the product would show this result. It did. The last 3 meetings of the task force were incredibly robust in the way of serious discussion on substantive issues regarding these matters. And the end product was a revelation, I think, for everyone, and a product which I know members of the task force, as well as the public who had been observing, were very proud of and very happy about. Now we feel as though we have been undercut by the leaders of the process, who clearly had an agenda, in my judgment, all along, and did not want to see these kinds of amendments proposed to the county board, let alone adopted. I don't know if this rises to the level of unethical behavior by public servants under Lancaster County guidelines. I'm going to inquire whether or not it does. I find this extraordinarily, and I mean that literally, reprehensible behavior. If they intended to have their own private say in what the members of the task force ultimately came up with, They should have had the courage to announce that at the beginning of the process, so the members of the task force could have at least engaged them in what their actual role was, so that they would know that better. I don't have any recommendations for you or suggestions for you. I just wanted to bring this to your attention. There are a lot of people in the groups I work with who feel that this represents corruption of a public process. I don't want to go to that point yet, but I'm deeply disturbed by this, and I find it very difficult to trust what comes out of that department on this issue going forward. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you for your input.
Next is number 7, announcements. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold a staff meeting on Thursday, October 24th, 2019 at 8:30 a.m. in the Luxford Studio at the County City Building. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold its next regular meeting on Tuesday, October 29th, 2019 at 9 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, October 29th, 2019 at 6:30 p.m. in room 112 of the County City Building regarding the 1 and 6 year road and bridge improvement program. County Commissioners can be reached at 402-441-7447 or commission@lancaster.ne.gov. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting is broadcast live on Link TV City. For the rebroadcast schedule, visit lincoln.ne.gov. Meetings are also streamed live on Link TV and can be viewed on YouTube.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.